Green Bay had two total turnovers. They had the Aaron Rodgers interception and the Aaron Jones fumble. And Tom Brady was able to capitalize he was able to score 2 touchdowns. I don't know if it was 2 touchdowns or a touchdown and a field goal, whatever. He was able to score both times off of those turnovers. And did I not say that last week that the difference in this game would be Tampa getting those turnovers? Yes, I said it wouldn't be no easy task against Aaron Rodgers. They weren't going to get him to throw no 3 interceptions. Yeah. But at the same time, they were still able to get the turnovers, and Tommy just did what he had to do. And I feel like Aaron Rodgers should have really won this game because that defense created 3 interceptions, 3 turnovers against Tampa, and he wasn't able to score on any of them. So for anyone blaming the refs out there, you can't.
There were some bad calls, but it was kind of like both ways. But
3 interceptions, that's points right there. You got to get points off of those.
Yeah. No, I mean, I understand that, but I mean, I think the big thing that comes out of this game, I don't know, I'll throw it over to Dylan after this, but the Bucs defense, like I was one saying that I didn't think the Bucs defense could repeat what they did against Breeze, because as good as Breeze is, there's a huge difference between Aaron Rodgers and Drew Brees right now. So I'm thinking Rodgers doesn't make the same mistakes that Breeze made. It's just not going to happen, and he did. And you can't play the, Breeze can't throw and ball because Rodgers is the MVP. He shouldn't be turning the ball over that many times, but the Bucs defense is forcing those turnovers. So, I mean, the big thing for me with the Bucs at the beginning of the playoffs was they don't have the defensive capabilities to help Tom Brady. And that was just, I think that was relevant at the beginning of the playoffs because they weren't forcing turnovers like they were. Now you've got Brady capitalizing on every single pick pretty much in the past 2 weeks, or turnover overall, which is a huge plus for them going into the Super Bowl because you're going to need turnovers against Patrick Mahomes. You're not going to be, I don't think, no one's going to slow down Patrick Mahomes, but if you can get a pick or 2 on him or a fumble on Clyde Edwards or whatever, that can change the game totally. And the Bucs defense, to me, is the MVP of the playoffs so far.
Yeah, I would have to agree with that, only because I was the same way going to the playoffs. I thought that the Buccaneers defense really didn't have what it takes to take the Buccaneers all the way against teams like the Packers and, I mean, even the Saints. And they did. And I got to give, props to Tom Brady and everybody on the Buccaneers offense because, as you said, they capitalize off the turnovers that they force. And that's the difference maker, especially in the playoffs. If you are forcing, like the Packers, if you're getting these turnovers but you're not scoring off of them, they're just waste of time, like empty possessions. And though I'm pretty sure, I guess 2 out of the 3 picks that the Packers got off of Tom Brady on Sunday, they really weren't the best field position. But at the end of the day, those are still possessions that you have to score on, and they didn't. So, for people to say that, the refs cost them the game, they costed the game. They sold the game themselves. Obviously, it was a winnable game. They just didn't capitalize when they needed to, and that's their problem. I don't really know if the, field goal was a, byproduct of LaFleur not trusting Rodgers, or if he just thought it was just a better idea, down the stretch. But from there, I don't really know where Rodgers will end up because I just feel like any team that needs a quarterback, is he a free agent this season?
Rodgers, he's got 1 more year.
Oh, he's got 1 more year. So they're going to have to give up a pretty large package in order to bring him onto the team. I just feel like his best situation to run it back and try to win is the Packers. That's how I see it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and before we move on from this game completely, I was going to bring up, and Jordan brought it up for me, is Tampa's defense legit? And they're proving that. Antoine Winfield was out this week. He's probably their top safety. And what's his name? Jordan Whitehead went down halfway through the game too. So they were playing without 2 of their top safeties. I'm not saying they're top safeties in the league. I think Antoine Winfield could be in years to come because it was just his rookie year this year. But they were down 2 of their 2 best guys over the top, especially against Aaron Rodgers, who has one of the best deep balls ever in NFL history. I mean, and it's going to be even more dangerous this year because it was probably an MVP year. But I think that the ultimate test is this week. We're not going to get into it too much against Kansas City because that team is just
Yeah.
save that for next week. Speaking of
It's
Kansas City,
Yeah, just
um,
last point. It's kind of like you crank it up like each notch. So you start with Washington, where it was kind of like, let's see what they can do, just like
it
an
was a
easy
beta
kind of
level.
game, which is kind of like funny because they struggled the most against Washington, arguably. And then you crank it through Drew Brees a little bit better, and then you go to Aaron Rodgers, and then the Chiefs. You could argue Rodgers maybe has a more potent offense, but
It's like you
the
keep leveling up
weapons,
pretty much.
yeah, the weapons on Kansas City. I mean, that's going to be the real test. So
Mahomes is going to be the final boss.
Yeah,
yeah,
just one
exactly.
thing I'll say on that is that I think you notice. I think as you progress, I don't really know about Washington's offensive line, but as you've gone on, the O lines have gotten worse, and you'll see now that last time, not to talk about it too much, but last time Kansas City and Tampa Bay played, they had a much healthier O line than they do right now, especially with Eric Fisher going out, and they don't have Mitchell Schwartz either. And you saw this with Green Bay when Bakhtiari was out of this game. They were able to get to Aaron Rodgers a lot, hit him, sack him a couple times, just keep pressure on him. So I think that's a real key here for Tampa Bay's defense, keeping pressure on him and allowing those people in the secondary and linebackers to make some plays, from pressure quarterbacks panicking, making some wrong throws or something like that.
And I feel like I did say earlier in the year that Tampa's the only team in the league that could beat Kansas City. I don't know if I said it here or I said it to a few of my friends, but I've definitely said that down the line. And when that comes true in 2 weeks, I can't wait to just rub it in people's face.